Undoubtedly, a sound psychology is the foundation for coping with life's challenges. So how can we tell if a person is psychologically healthy? Here are some key signs that indicate this. First of all, being able to manage one's emotions is a great skill. When a person gets angry, rather than resorting to shouting or withdrawing and isolating themselves from the world, if they can understand the reasons behind that emotion and express it in a healthy way, it is a sign of maturity. As psychoanalyst Carl Jung said, everything we do not make conscious becomes our destiny. In other words, someone who cannot manage their emotions ends up, without realizing it, being controlled by them. Self-awareness is also crucial. A person who can analyze their own thoughts and behaviors has a clear advantage in personal growth. It is important to objectively examine not only the mistakes of others, but also one's own. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. If a person understands why they think, act, and feel in certain ways, it indicates that their inner world is robust. The ability to cope with stress is another cornerstone of psychological health. If you're someone who gives up immediately in the face of life's challenges or is overwhelmed by even small obstacles, you may need to build up your psychological resilience. When managed correctly, stress can become a factor that empowers you. As Viktor Frankl reminds us, everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance. Life can be hard sometimes, but what matters most is how you respond to it. Being able to form healthy relationships is also a major indicator. In life, one should make room for understanding and supportive people instead of toxic relationships. If you can maintain your own boundaries and respect those of others, you are considered psychologically strong. Buddha once said, "To understand others is wisdom. To understand oneself is enlightenment." In relationships, understanding both yourself and the other person is the key to building balanced and healthy connections. Having self-confidence and self-esteem is another sign of mental well-being. It is difficult for someone who constantly feels inadequate, compares themselves to others, or relies solely on external praise to achieve inner peace. Oscar Wilde's famous words, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken," are especially meaningful in this context. A person who values their own existence can attain a happiness that is independent of the judgments of the external world. Enjoying life is yet another sign of a healthy psyche. If you find joy in the little things and make time for your hobbies, it shows that you have an inner connection to life. On the other hand, if you're always waiting for things to improve and postponing your happiness for the future, that is not a sign of a healthy state of mind. Albert Camus once noted, "True generosity is living today without thinking about tomorrow," reminding us of the importance of cherishing the present moment. It is also very important to steer clear of dependencies. Some people become addicted to smoking, alcohol, or social media. Others become dependent on the approval of others. If you can find happiness within your own being without clinging to anything, that is a sign of your inner strength. As Epictetus said, "That to which you are attached rules you." Sleep and nutrition are more important than you might think. Irregular sleep and unbalanced nutrition directly affect psychological health. A healthy mind truly resides in a healthy body. Setting realistic goals is crucial as well. Dreaming is beautiful, but chasing unattainable goals and constantly feeling like a failure can wear a person down. If you can make progress through small steps and take pleasure in your successes, it indicates that your psychological foundation is strong. Being open to change is another great strength. Inflexibility limits a person both mentally and emotionally. Adapting to life's changes paves the way for growth. The ability to be alone is perhaps one of the greatest signs of psychological health. If you are comfortable being by yourself, it means you have found inner peace. Forgiving and letting go of the past are the keys to mental freedom. Someone who carries the burden of the past cannot move forward. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." Rather than being stuck in the past, redirecting our thoughts toward the future makes us stronger. Not being overly dependent on the opinions of others is also a sign of a healthy mindset. If you are constantly seeking everyone's approval, you lose the ability to be yourself. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Finally, Being hopeful about the future is a powerful indicator of psychological resilience. No matter what you experience, believing that beautiful things await in the next chapter of life is perhaps the strongest sign of mental robustness. As Nietzsche famously stated, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." If you recognize most of these qualities in yourself, then your psychological well-being is largely solid. And if there are aspects where you feel lacking, don't worry. Human psychology is always evolving. Remember, the greatest strength lies in knowing and developing yourself.